What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of GG Gaming. I am your host and player 1, Andrew, and with me is my co-hosts and players 2 and 3. We got Apocalypso and PapaGenos.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So, why is this not live? Because we keep having problems with the live video. It keeps, I don't know, the computer keeps crashing, like, after about an hour, and all of the live videos have been getting cut into parts 1 and 2. And I may go back. I was just talking with Apocalypso and PapaGenos. I may wind up going back to them and re-uploading the edited versions, just because they were probably less enjoyable to watch with all the problems going on in them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Alpha was
A
going
little
to
editing can spruce that up, though.
What?
A little editing can spruce that up,
exactly.
though.
So Alpha was going to be on, but something happened and he couldn't join last minute. But we're all targeting for Tuesday. And we should hopefully have a special guest on Tuesday. So let's focus on the here and now. What has everybody been up to? Who wants to start?
Well,
You want to go? Go for it.
I was gonna tell about my my PSO idea, Phantasy
No, go
Star
for it.
Online. I had an idea of turning it into a turn-based RPG like the classic Phantasy Star games.
Well, what is it now?
It's an MMO. It was an MMO, so it was like a hack and slash game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would be cool with the turn-based combat, because honestly, as much as I love Phantasy Star Online, the original Phantasy Star games for Genesis is how I first got introduced to the series, and I love those games. I thought they were really cool. I really liked, I think it's the third one is Generations of Doom, which has you like you play as a character, and then you play as like the kids of that character, and then the kids, it like goes over generationally like that, and the robot characters don't age, so they like stay on your team. I love those games. I thought they were awesome. So yeah, I'd be cool with going back to the classic style Phantasy Star.
I mean, the only way I actually learned about the other Phantasy Star games to begin with is because I was doing stuff. I first, Phantasy Star Online is my favorite game. I might have mentioned that somewhere else.
Yeah, I think on here you mentioned it quite often.
And so I kind of did research about the other Phantasy Star games just out of curiosity. Also, like when I did Phantasy Star Spirits for my Super Smash Brainstorm blog, I incorporated not only Phantasy Star Online Spirits, but also ones from like classic Phantasy Star games.
Very cool.
Nice.
You gotta send me that, because I like Phantasy Star. I'd be down to look at that.
Yeah. Okay. I can definitely manage that.
Cool.
But as for like gameplay, I thought it could retain. I would call the Phantasy Star Online turn-based RPG version. I figured I'd have a very cool name, Phantasy Star Raggle.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Phantasy Star, so I don't know what that means.
Raggle is the planet that Phantasy Star Online takes place on, and it would follow the naming convention of the first 4 Phantasy Star games, the classic Phantasy Star games, to signify that it's a turn-based RPG as opposed to just an HD remake of PSO, which I'd also want.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Anything that revisits Phantasy Star Online, I have really good memories of. Did you play? Is it 4? Is it like on Sega Saturn or something? Is that what 4 is on? I'm trying to remember. The first 3 I have for Genesis, and I never played 4. I don't know if it's for Sega CD or Sega Saturn. Have you played that one? I haven't played it.
Well, I haven't played any Phantasy Star games except PSO.
Oh, okay. So you're just a fan of the other, or you just kind of researched into the other ones?
Yeah. I do plan on playing PSO 2 when it comes out on the Switch.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll probably grab it too.
It is free, so if I don't like it, I'm not paying anything, so that's good.
It's free?
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, I think it's subscription based or something. I'm assuming. I haven't looked into it, but I'm definitely gonna get into it because I love the original Phantasy Star Online.
It's probably nothing like it, but it's worth a try.
Is it a sequel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sequel to a MMO, kind of weird, but yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so PapaGenos, what have you been up to?
Mostly playing Hero and all that Smash stuff that happened because I'm always focused on Smash stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, just excited Hero came out and been trying them out, and then looking at like speculation scene stuff that's gone, with Hero being released. So not getting the Geno Mii costume has kind of changed some things up, and I really don't want to have hope for Geno because. I mean, I do and I don't, but I'm very satisfied with Smash at this point, so I just don't want to get like my hopes up and end up feeling disappointed in a game that I am in no way disappointed by. So it's a weird spot, but mostly I've just been playing Hero and Mario Maker. So yeah, as far as video game stuff goes, that's what I've been up to.
Okay, and we'll dive into that stuff in a bit, but specifically
Sure.
Smash. So have either of you played anything else before I talk about? A couple of stuff. A couple of things.
Recently, I haven't played this stuff, but I was in the room the whole time while they were being played, so I watched my brother play through for the first time Mario Sunshine. He had never played through Mario Sunshine.
I've never played it either.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never played it, and I've had a GameCube my entire life.
It's probably my least favorite of the 3D Marios, and my brother agreed with me after playing it. So sorry for anybody out there who likes Mario Sunshine. But he played through that recently, and then he's been playing... he always is like on and off with Pikmin because it's his favorite series. So he was playing Pikmin 3. So I'm hoping we get a Pikmin 3 port to Switch. I know that was a rumor a little while back, but I hope that comes to fruition.
I think I'm like a month older than the GameCube.
Really?
Yeah.
I have never played Pikmin. I don't even really know anything about it.
It's a cool series. It's, Miyamoto made it, so Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, he also made Pikmin. So if that's any indication of the quality of the game series, it's good.
Okay. And what have I been
I
playing?
mean, basically, I haven't played Pikmin either, but my brothers did, and I kind of know a little bit about it. Basically, you just kind of control Pikmin, which are basically just these little plant-like creatures that just kind of you can just have like massive numbers of them and use them to attack enemies and collect stuff to like repair and get obstacles out of your way. Basically, the whole goal is to fix your ship and get off the planet in 30 days.
So is the planet supposed to be full of things that are ridiculously huge, or are you for some reason ridiculously small?
You are an alien, so you're Hokotatian or something like that. They're from Hokotate, I think that's the name of the planet, and they're just really tiny. And it's kind of hinted that the planet that they're on is Earth. It might be Earth in some like far future where the bugs have evolved differently, or maybe it's just how this alien is perceiving the bugs on Earth. I don't really know for sure. But it kind of seems like you're an alien on Earth because the objects and things you collect are often just normal everyday objects. But you're fighting giant monster things, but they're basically bugs.
It's actually there's actually a Kirby game that has where you basically visit a frozen Earth.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've heard
one?
of that before actually.
I don't remember, but people are trying to put together like a whole timeline of Nintendo games, and I think they have like that Kirby sequence. They have like the Kirby games. So basically, Earth falls. Like humans die out for whatever reason. There's like an ice age, which is when Kirby takes place,
and post Mario,
and then Pikmin takes place, and somewhere in there Splatoon takes place, but I'm not sure where.
Oh yeah, Splatoon's also like supposed to be kind of post-apocalypse Earth. Mario's kind of strange because he's like from Brooklyn, maybe.
Or he was, I guess.
Or
I don't understand
that
decision in Mario Odyssey of making real humans. Because initially they were all going to be cartoony like Mario, if you look at concept art.
So,
and I think like Mario, there was like a store for Mario Bros. Plumbing and stuff. So like it actually looked better than it ended up being, in my opinion.
I would have probably preferred actually if they had somehow gone back to the roots of Mario, where he was literally supposed to be from like New York City, but New Donk City was cool, so whatever they want to do. Mario's pretty loose and open to interpretation.
Super Mario Brothers series is kind of a mess. You can't even tell if there's any kind of continuity whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's at this point kind of supposed to be that way, so they can do whatever they want, and they're not like, caged into having to work with some timeline or something.
Just take a look at the Dr. Mario series. Everybody's a doctor now, so. It's like, when did they all have time to get a doctorate?
They bought them on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't probably trust any of the doctors in Dr. Mario.
They only
Sometimes my makeup items randomly kill people. I'm totally not shady.
I haven't played that new. Was it a Dr. Mario mobile game?
Dr. Mario World.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I haven't played it yet.
It's kind of fun.
Cool. I like original Dr. Mario, so I'd probably like it.
I don't even have a phone, so I can't play it, but whatever.
That would stand in the way. That's like not having the console.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of mobile stuff, have you guys played? I haven't played it yet, but I've heard good things. Pokemon Masters.
I don't think it's out yet. I think they were doing like some beta stuff, and that's why a lot of people.
Oh, maybe it's beta stuff that I've seen people talking about. I haven't gotten it yet. I've heard people talking about it.
I think in another country, they were open for betas or something like that, and so people were, I don't know, if
faking IPs
or something. Yeah, where they're so they were able to access it.
Cool. All right, that's what's going on. I've seen like screenshots of it online, but I haven't actually played it myself.
Yeah, I'm excited for that actually.
Yeah, it looks cool. I always liked the trainers and the gym leaders and stuff, and I mean, like the anime gives them, personalities and stuff. But I do wish the games maybe revisited the characters a bit more. They do a little bit, but it would be cool to see like, I don't know, new regions really reference like all the gym leaders from an old region and stuff like that. It'd be cool to do that. So Pokemon Masters pulling all those people into one game is pretty cool.
Did you give up on Pokemon Go?
Basically, I mean, I don't want to say I gave up on it, because if they do something really cool, I'd probably get back into it. But I haven't played in at least a month, probably 2.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
It kind of occurred to me that Persona 5 is basically Pokemon, but there's also like a visual novel when you're not catching personas.
It kind of makes sense, actually. It's got the collection aspect to it.
It's a visual novel Pokemon.
I actually realized that the whole spirit system in Smash Ultimate is greatly inspired by Persona 5.
Really?
Because there's a system of summoning spirits in Smash Ultimate where you give up 2 or more spirits to you could say fuse into a different spirit, sometimes more powerful, and you lose those spirits. And a similar thing occurs in Persona 5 where you have to give up 2 persona and they're executed and combined together to create a stronger persona which has skills from either of them.
That's interesting. I would bet that probably was somewhat inspired by Persona, because I know Sakurai is a fan of Persona. Specifically, I think he really likes the menus from Persona, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard him say that specifically. So I wouldn't be surprised. Sakurai is all the time, he's got that mind of a game developer, so he's always looking at other games to, that's why he's so good at creating characters for Smash and stuff. So always looking at other games to think up, like, what cool ideas and game development, game mechanic type stuff are in those games. And a lot of times he, will incorporate them into his own games, especially Smash.
Yeah. It's really hard for me to actually play a game, and any kind of video game without imagining what the main character would look like in Smash.
Really?
I do that all the time too.
It's just like, okay, what kind of moveset could this character have? Let's I have a lot of difficulty actually just enjoying a video game for what it is. I just start imagining what the character would be like in Smash. It's just kind of funny.
See, I think about stuff like that if it's a character I really like, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some games It's weird. Some games like have that Smash quality to them, and they totally make me daydream about them being in Smash. There's definitely other stuff.
Yeah.
That like I might like the game, but I don't necessarily want it in Smash. It's weird. I have a weird preference for what I want in Smash and what I don't.
Like one of the, I think like so one there's actually a funny story behind one of my wackiest characters that I brainstormed on my blog. I was playing one day. I was playing Bloons Tower Defense 3.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I got what if this was in Smash? So I decided to make a brainstorm for Dart Monkey, where a Dart Monkey's in Smash, and it's like new.
Who's Dart Monkey?
It's just like it's supposed to be like the generic Dart Monkey from the Bloons Tower Defense series.
Oh, okay.
And they have a bunch, and because three was my favorite one, is my favorite one so far. All the specials and stuff were related to that. So it was actually pretty crazy. Like most of the, the special moves were projectiles. But a lot of the the regular moves were also projectiles. So it was a pretty wonky character.
Kind of like Mega Man. Mega Man has a lot of that going on.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's pretty crazy. But it was just like an idea I got randomly one day while playing that game, and kind of stuck out to me after doing it.
I wish I could make characters for Smash and then they actually be in Smash.
Character creator mode. Add it.
Yeah.
We kind of have it with the Mii's, but it's not that good.
Oh yeah.
Although people use the Mii's competitively sometimes and kick ass with it.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and if the Geno Mii costume did come out, or if it does come out later on for some reason, I will totally main Gunner. So there you go.
You think so?
I don't know if you probably don't know who this is, Papa, but I made an Ash Kanan Mii.
I don't. Not off the top of my head.
He's from PSO. He's like the generic Humar character.
Yeah, I know Humar.
Yeah, the character's official name is Ash Kanan.
Oh, okay. Like the default one or something?
Yeah,
I know like you pick like your race and your class, and Humar is like the human race.
Yeah, the default Humar's name is Ash Kanan, so I made a Mii for him, and I also made a PSO stage in the stage builder.
Oh, that's cool.
I made a it was based on the level from the GameCube version, so you probably haven't played it.
I played a little bit of I played it initially on Dreamcast, but I remember playing a tiny bit on the GameCube. I remember there was like a maze like jungle looking level, and I think that was GameCube exclusive. Maybe, if I'm right. It was a long time ago.
Well, yeah, you're probably thinking of the jungle level.
If that's what it's called, yeah, that's probably
the central control area has 3 different levels. Because they have a beach level. Well, they have the jungle level and beach level and mountain level. And it's like 3 different areas in one, and then you have to go through each of those areas to unlock a door in the central control area, and then after that you actually have to fight mechanized enemies in the central control area itself. So it's like 3 areas that become 4.
That's cool.
It kind of makes up for the fact that half of the levels from in the GameCube version for Episode 2 are just kind of recycled battle arenas from the Dreamcast version 2 game.
Like the same like textures and stuff.
It's
I just
like
remember the original like 4 places you could go was like a grassy place that you eventually got to this like building that had the dragon in it, and then there was caves, and then like a mechanical place, and then the last one was kind of weird. It was like a spooky sort of place.
It's
I just remember those 4 original ones really well.
Forest, cave, mine, and ruins.
That was it.
Probably Ruins is probably my favorite just because of the music. The music is really spooky, but also kind of peaceful at the same time. It's really strange.
Cool. Yeah, I love the Phantasy Star Online music is really good. I used to like, even just like the loading screen music. It had this like, I don't know, futuristic, relaxing quality to it. I really liked it.
I kind of want it to be a menu theme in Smash Ultimate. I would love that.
Dude, there's so many games I'd love to just get the music from like into Smash.
Don't
like,
expect
I don't need a
it from
character. I
Square.
just want like the music.
Like on the PSO stage, which in my blog, which actually had the ruins. I made the stage ruins. I had like 40 tracks from the various Phantasy Star games, and they're all original. I didn't have any of them have to be remixes.
Cool. I actually prefer originals. Hero, interestingly, I think all the Dragon Quest music are original tracks, and none of them are remixes, which I heard some people complaining about, but I mean, remixes are cool, or like an orchestrated version is cool, but personally, I kind of prefer the original songs from the games. When the original song gets put into Smash, I like that better.
Well, I think some of the older ones are actually remixed in the sense that they were remixed for the remakes and updated versions. So they're not they're not like the NES versions. They're like the latest versions of those songs. Like I think the songs that I heard, like a couple of them, I think were from the mobile game, which was from I think something called Battle Road, something in Japan. So they're, I guess, not necessarily orchestrated, but they're, I guess, the most updated versions of those songs.
It's not NES music. It's
right.
More modern.
Have you listened to them? Did you listen to all of them?
I've just been playing Hero. I didn't like go out of my way to go listen to the music because I'm not a huge Dragon Quest person, so I probably wouldn't recognize any of them. But I've been playing Hero, and I've been trying to play the Yggdrasil's altar. Like, is pretty much the stage I have it on selected all the time, just to always be on it.
Pretty sure it's pronounced Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil. I'm Norwegian, so gotta pronounce it right.
Wait, how did you say it?
Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil?
Yggdrasil.
Oh, Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil.
I thought it was
Y, just yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Yggdrasil, but I was close.
I used to pronounce it Yggdrasil until my brother pointed out that it sounded really stupid.
I always thought it was a weird. It's in like Tales of Symphonia, I think, has it. A lot of games reference that tree. So
when I heard you say it in your video, I was like, oh no, you said it wrong. I don't know why I knew it wasn't the way you said it, because I was like, I never actually heard the word in Dragon Quest, but I'm pretty sure it's not how you said it.
I mean, I pride myself on my Norwegian heritage, so I really love Viking culture and stuff like that. So
yeah, Viking stuff's sweet.
Yeah, Viking
Norse mythology and stuff is really cool. Not that I'm any good at pronouncing anything.
Apparently.
Now, going back to original tracks versus remix versions, there's actually a game I like, Age of Empires 2.
Yeah, Age of Empires 2 is great.
Now, the Definitive Edition, they're remixing all the songs. They're not keeping any one original, which really bugs me because I don't mind the originals at all. I think they're pretty good. But they're making them all orchestrated, and I don't know if I could really get used to that.
Yeah, it's like I like hearing an orchestrated version.
What was the original like?
Yeah, the original song is just what I got used to, so I tend to prefer those. Like, even I love banjo, and I absolutely love Grant Kirkhope's music, and I really like the track that he did for Banjo's reveal trailer, which is like a new version of I think it's Spiral Mountain's name or whatever. Yeah. And I like it. Like, it's really good, and it's made by Grant Kirkhope and stuff. So no complaints there. But I'm still really hopeful.
Coming. No, I said I hear a butt coming. Like you were gonna say but.
But
I really like it. But
yeah, but
I don't like it.
I am hopeful that when Banjo gets in, it's not just a bunch of like remixes or new versions of songs. Like, I like the classic Banjo-Kazooie songs a lot, so I'm hopeful at least a couple of those tracks get in, just exactly the way they were on the N64, because that's how I remember them. That's my favorite way that they are. It's just how I like them.
I would like
Now
a nice mix between originals and remixes.
Now,
Yeah, hopefully it's 50-50.
there are
Yeah.
people suggesting that Banjo and Kazooie should have like a low poly costume to make them seem nostalgic. Now, what do you think about that?
Well, I think we should have alts regardless, but like alternate costumes regardless. But I guess Nintendo just doesn't want money.
Dude, alternate costume packs in Smash would sell so good. I'd be so into that. And I honestly, it would be cool because Banjo's on N64 if he had like you said, a low poly version. But then you could also take the original 12 Smash 64 characters and give them their original Smash 64 look. I think that would be really cool.
And perhaps they could also, for people who prefer melee designs like me, I like the melee designs over any other Smash design.
Now, do you think it's a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Not like a I'm trying to think of this word, like well, the feeling I'm trying to get is like a Sakurai kind of thinking to himself like, oh, we're not going to do that because these are the updated versions that we did. So, you know, kind of maybe prideful.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's
prideful in the upgraded graphics, or
there's definitely a little something with some of the characters. Specifically, I'm thinking of like Link. Like if he tried to go back to older Link looks, the new Link is Breath of the Wild themed, and some of the things he does, like pulling out the Sheikah Slate to ignite the bombs, or the type of bombs he has, don't really work with the older look, so that might be preventing him from doing that. But regardless, they should do more alternate costumes, alternate costume packs.
Yes.
Whatever they give us in them, they should do them.
But like at least for like Fox and Falco, I think the melee designs are really clean and really good for a fighting game.
I mean, Fox and Falco are like known for melee, so it would be cool to give them those costumes.
Or is it Melee is known for Fox and Falco?
Good point.
Final destination.
Yeah.
No items. I like that edited cover of Melee that just shows a bunch of foxes on Final Destination.
I've seen that.
And you know, Melee's cover has like all the fighters' faces. All of them are photoshopped to be replaced with Fox. and even the ESRB rating thing just says Fox only.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that Photoshop. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, we already started talking about Smash, so I guess we can dive into that. I guess nobody really cares about what I played this week.
What did you play? No, you do you. What did you play? What did you play? We'll talk about that next.
No, I just played.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That's really mean.
I played. I played Smash with that hero. But I got back into Hyrule Warriors again, as I always do.
Ooh.
So, this
Nice.
game is so fun.
Which
Actually,
on Wii U or Switch?
Switch, the definitive edition. Which actually, I saw Game Theory, yeah, Matt Pat, that's his name, and he came out with a theory video that was like #2 on trending in gaming yesterday on YouTube, where he basically was stating that Hyrule Warriors is a perfect inclusion into the timeline, as it serves as a merging point of 3 split timelines.
Oh, I like that.
And then Breath of the Wild would take place after that.
I didn't see that video, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and I was like, this might be my new headcanon, even though it's like not
a spin-off.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind it being a spin-off. It's obviously I think it's a great game because I can't stop playing it, but Nintendo claims it's not canon, which fine, but is the reasoning it's not canon because Nintendo didn't make it? Or do they actually look at it and be like, no, we don't want this as part of our Zelda universe? But I really do feel like that game introduced a lot of neat lore. And the idea of the theory video was that in Hyrule Warriors, if you guys are familiar, I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but basically there's a point where all the different timelines, like pieces from each timeline, kind of merge together. because basically, at some point in the past, Ganondorf's soul was split amongst, pieces of his soul was split amongst, I guess, the multiverse in a sense, like different timelines. And so he kind of crafts this plot to, I guess, converge the timelines to get his soul back.
Be like full powered Ganon or something.
So the only problem I have with the theory is that at the end of the game, all the timelines kind of go back to where they were. So the world doesn't stay merged. So how would that still lead into Breath of the Wild? So that was my concern.
I guess you could do the whole like Ocarina of Time thing where maybe the canon version of the game is that you don't beat it.
Every theory has its holes.
True.
That's
well,
the problem.
I have a different headcanon about the hero loses, and that's that they say he loses because if Link, if Ganondorf survived, or if you were a bystander in that timeline, and Ganondorf succeeded in his plot and Link wasn't there, you'd be like, oh, I guess Link must have lost. So, like, the hero dies is kind of like the perspective of civilians. But in reality, my thought is Link disappears when he time travels because he goes because at least I think there's at least 2 points in the game where you go back to the past as a child. One's with the Lens of Truth and the other's for the Spirit Temple. So there's at least 2 canon points in the game where Link has to travel back to the past and to the future again. And by traveling to the past, at least to get the Lens of Truth, you're actively changing something in that timeline. So you're creating a branch. And then when you travel to the future, you left behind a branching timeline where the hero disappeared and Ganondorf, was not stopped.
Right. So
there's probably a bunch of those timelines, but the idea is they all lead into the same thing of Ganondorf winning and the hero disappearing. So there might be there could be maybe 20-something or even more, depending on how many canon times Link could have traveled to the past. But every time he traveled to the past and stepped on a blade of grass that might have proven a different direction, he creates a branched timeline where he effectively removes himself from the timeline, and Ganondorf was not stopped. So they're all pretty much going to the same direction. So there's a bunch of hero downfall timelines where he doesn't actually lose, but he just removed himself from that timeline. So there's one adult timeline, one child timeline, and infinite downfall timelines that work out exactly the same.
That's some Star Trek Next Generation stuff right there.
So Link basically used all these timelines he created by time traveling and then just abandoned them to save 2 timelines.
Yeah. Great, thanks a lot.
Then that raises the question of Majora's Mask. How many times do you return into the past? But I think I think in that game, the time is specifically self-contained.
I think there was dream world or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was something stated in the game that you weren't necessarily returning to the past, but you were kind of rewinding the time. I vaguely remember some kind of statement somewhere where it worked differently than in Ocarina of Time, where you were kind of effectively undoing stuff. I guess in a sense, if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Super, Whis' time reversal do-over thing.
Yeah, it's different than actually branching timelines.
Although, you do bring some items with you into the past.
Right. So, Dragon Ball Super, you create, the rings or whatever, when you actually break the timeline, but in Majora's Mask it would be in Ocarina of Time, you're saying that so in Ocarina of Time, using Dragon Ball Z logic, going back in time and going back to the future, cool movie series, you're creating rings in Dragon Ball Z world logic, but then in Majora's Mask, you're just resetting. So it's like different time travel logic.
I actually looked like deep into this, and the overall generic results of the Zamasu, or I'm not sure the exact pronunciation in English, but in the English dub, but I'll just say Zamasu. That whole arc, basically in the anime, there's a time loop, and in the manga, there's a specific starting point and end point. And it wasn't Whisa's do-over that resulted in the time rings appearing. It was a result of Beerus, when Beerus eliminated when he erased Zamasu from existence. Zamasu had already, like, it's kind of difficult to explain, but just the generic overall, he already there was already a version of him that traveled somewhere else, so that one was not affected because he was kind of like from a different timeline, I guess, in a sense, because the present kind of split into two in a sense, and only one of those two presents he got eliminated in. So
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's like the easy way to say it, but
that saga was complicated time travel wise.
Yeah.
So
at one point I figured it out, and then I don't quite remember it. What I figured out, I'd have to actually like dig into it again. But once I was like, okay, this makes sense, then I didn't want to think about it anymore. But like I actually made sense out of it. And I was like, all right, this makes sense. I could just leave it. Because it was like really bugging me. And then I finally figured it out.
I did the same thing. Because I remember reading all the time travel stuff from that saga. And then kind of like going on like a Wikipedia and kind of like being like, I had to figure out for myself like how the pieces fit. And then, like you said, after you get it, you're like, sweet, satisfied. It made sense in my head. So I don't need to think about it anymore.
Time travel is very confusing.
Very.
Yeah.
But I do like,
actually, the Cell Saga is the one that makes less sense than the Zamasu.
Yeah, Cell getting Trunks' time machine doesn't make sense. I know that's like a really weird thing.
But the actual sequence of events from the Zamasu arc, overall, that one seems more... I keep saying overall, but what I'm trying to say is like if you take a step back and you just look at the general gist of it, the Zamasu arc looks way more complicated, but when you actually go in and like pull, grab at the pieces and put them together, you realize that the Zamasu arc makes sense and the Cell one does not, unless there's like 2 or 3 extra timelines that were ignored. Because there was like 2 or 3 different cells, I think. Yeah, there were 3
one thing
cells.
I've actually really enjoyed about Dragon Ball Super is a lot of the stuff from Dragon Ball Z that was like complicated or kind of plot hole-ish. They've addressed and kind of like explained better. Like I really like just the different universes and the gods and stuff. It kind of explained why like Boo can maybe kill the Grand Kai and stuff like that, but there is actually a level above that would never tolerate that sort of thing happening.
Yeah.
So it helped me make sense of Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, as much as I don't want to stop you guys from talking about that stuff, I don't understand at all what you're talking about. I kind of like to participate.
Well, now you know how I felt when you're talking about Phantasy Star. Because I just sat back and played Dr. Mario World on my phone because it got mentioned.
That's a good point.
All right. I can tie it back. I'll tie it back.
Smash.
All right, so let's go back to Zelda here.
Oh yeah.
I didn't watch the video that you said you watched.
But
however, I have heard the idea that Breath of the Wild is like after the timelines have remerged or something. I have heard that theory because there's references to a lot of different timelines in Breath of the Wild. Do you guys think Breath of the Wild 2 will maybe continue with that idea, or what do you guys think is going on with Breath of the Wild 2 with like
Well,
that
let
decrepit canon and everything?
me take it. Go back real quick to when you said they have pieces from different timelines.
Go for it.
That's true, but that doesn't mean a lot of those can't exist in the other timelines. Like, for example, Zelda mentions Twilight at some point. That doesn't mean that there wasn't an issue regarding the Twilight Realm in any other timelines, or at least something from it. You know, just mentioning an alternate plane of existence doesn't mean the events of Twilight Princess took place in that game, because it's still the same world. So all these different dimensions and planes still exist.
Right, like the Twilight Realm still exists in a timeline that didn't actually have the events of Twilight Princess.
Right.
Twilight Realm should still be part of that universe.
Yes.
Drew,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned, Drew, that the design of Ganondorf in the trailer for Breath of the Wild 2 greatly resembles Ganondorf from Twilight Princess.
Yeah, in one of the past episodes, recently past episodes, I mentioned that somebody, this wasn't something that I noticed. This was something that I saw a video, and they pointed it out, and I was like, oh my god. But basically, if you remember the ending of Twilight Princess, Ganondorf, he gets stabbed in the chest, and then Zant snaps his neck, resulting in Ganondorf's neck getting snapped, right?
Yeah.
So in the trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, we see there's a hole in his chest, and he seemingly snaps his neck back into place.
Yep.
So
Whoa,
it's like,
that's mind-blowing.
And he's kind of got the similar look with like
His crown
like
thing looks
yeah.
very the same.
So it could be
The
the
shape
same
of his head.
Ganondorf.
The shape of his head is also very similar.
Not to
Yeah.
mention that Ganondorf is the Game 3 video made me realize this, but Ganondorf is kind of he more consistently appears in that time. I forget if it's child or adult, but the one with Twilight Princess and the Majora's Mask, I think that timeline is the one that really utilizes Ganondorf and his utilizing of transforming into Ganon and reverting back. It was in the Downfall timeline that he stayed as Ganon and never turned back. And in the adult timelines, the one with Wind Waker, he just dies. So,
Yeah.
and then they kind of move on to a new Hyrule. And we really haven't seen much. There's only been 3 games in that timeline, maybe one more if I'm missing one. And only one of them dealt with Ganondorf. So it seems like I'm just going to call it the Wind Waker timeline, but I think it's the adult timeline kind of takes Ganondorf out of the picture. The child timeline deals with Ganondorf and his struggle for power, and the Downfall timeline deals with Ganondorf's successful transformation into Ganon and his, I guess, rule as Ganon. And it kind of crosses over here and there, where I think Four Swords Adventures might be in the child timeline, and he's Ganon there too. So I don't know it.
Yeah,
But-
there's a few some of the weirder side games like
Yeah.
that, kind of like they fall into the timeline but looser.
Yeah. So so when you see Ganondorf, especially resembling those things I pointed out, you kind of feel like he's probably from the child timeline. Yeah.
Do you think that Nintendo even intended all of this stuff at all? Do you think we might just be
they care?
into it?
I don't think they care.
Yeah, I think so to some extent, I think they just, want to make the games however they want to make the games.
Yeah.
But they were the ones who, like fans, I think, came up with kind of like different timeline things. But then when they did the Hyrule Historia, they pretty much confirmed that, yes, there are different timelines, but they were specific. I think the original fan idea, I think, was just a split timeline of child and adult. And then Nintendo kind of confirmed, no, there's 3 timelines. So Nintendo did confirm it, but I think they're pretty loose about sticking to, they stick to it, but they do kind of whatever they want.
It changes too. Like Hyrule Historia solidified a timeline, and then I don't know the name of the book, but there was a newer book that changed at least changed the placement of Link's Awakening.
Okay.
Because there was this idea of initially that the Link from Link's Awakening was the same Link from
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, and then he went to Oracle of Seasons and Ages, and then he went to Link's Awakening, and they thought they didn't want it to look like he died at sea, so they rearranged it so that it's A Link to the Past, then Link's Awakening, and then he goes on to Oracle of Seasons and Ages.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of, I don't want to say stupid, but I think it's kind of like, all you have to do is say he didn't die at sea. Like, you don't have to rearrange a timeline, because it was already fit nicely. Like, at the end of Oracle of Seasons and Ages, I think Link takes a boat or a raft or something. So you're like, oh, there he goes sailing. And it, like, led into...
That sounds right.
Yeah. So it was already set up nicely. Like, all you have to do is say, no, he didn't die. It's like, okay. Like,
yeah.
You don't have to rearrange a timeline and mess with established setups.
Now,
I mean, besides that ending of Oracle and Ages, like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're just all three of those are basically just the Link from Link to the Past went on adventures after saving Hyrule. But you know, I don't think fans are like gonna go nuts that, oh my god, Link died at sea.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, right?
What do you think? What do you think about the fact that Outset Island was discovered in Breath of the Wild?
Oh yeah. I don't know, because was it pointed out? Was its height above sea level pointed out? Because the Outset Island is an island, meaning that the rest of the land that it's connected to would have to be lower for it to be sticking out of the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what the rest... the surrounding area of that village or area looks like in Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure, but if there's pieces sticking up, then see, it's at the edge of the continent where it hits the ocean, and in Wind Waker there's islands past that, and those islands are supposedly, I guess, like Dragon Roost Island could potentially be Death Mountain. So then why would Death Mountain be below on the map?
I mean,
why would Death Mountain be south of the shore? You know?
I mean, we have the Lost Woods in Breath of the Wild, like next to Death Mountain, and the Lost Woods is like on an island, which kind of feels like maybe Wind Waker did happen, and then the seas receded or something. Like, Breath of the Wild does have some weird things kind of pointing towards maybe more than one timeline happened. But I personally, probably my favorite...
The world doesn't have to change when the timeline splits. That landmass can exist in all three timelines.
That's true.
Right. I guess I'm just saying that the Lost Woods usually isn't next to, like, Death Mountain, but I guess the way I like to look at all the Zelda games, especially because they're called The Legend of Zelda, this was, like, probably my favorite way to look at it, is that they're all, like, the older games or whatever are just passed down legends in whatever current game you're playing. Mm-hmm. And those things, like, you know, when things become legends, like, the truth of it kind of gets lost in translation.
That's very
Some of the games
similar.
might be retellings of the same story, but slightly different, or something like that.
That's very similar to what I had said to Alpha in the previous episode, where I said, but I was referencing the style change, where I said my interpretation of each game, or at least each version. Or each game where the style changes, is that it's kind of like coming from like a different author. Like, here's a legend from this point in the timeline, but somebody else is telling it. So from a different perspective, the style is different. So, like, these characters might not even look the way they do, but the way they look is due to the way that story's being told. So the Legend of Zelda is you're experiencing a legend that's being told to you.
I like that.
Which
And
is
it's
very
always
similar to what you said, where like things could get muddled, which is true.
Yeah. So like, maybe Hyrule, the map, like, changes in some way that just it couldn't possibly be. But this is just a legend you're being told anyway. So, if Lake Hylia is not right next to what it was next to the last time, someone told the story or someone interpreted this tale about the Triforce and Link and Zelda and stuff. It's a different retelling and stuff gets lost.
There's also a lot of magic in this game. So
true. So if somebody wanted to just pick up Death Mountain and move it or something, that might have happened.
Yeah, someone with the Triforce of Power, maybe.
Yeah, that guy could do it.
Full disclosure, I've never played Breath of the Wild.
Really?
No, I have not.
Another thing that was pointed out in game theory that I thought was interesting was to the upper right of Death Mountain in Breath of the Wild is the Spring of Power. And in Hyrule Warriors, to the northeast, with the same placement, in the same spot, relative to Death Mountain, is, I think it's called the Valley of Seers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, basically, without spoiling anything, even though we're spoiling everything here, but that's where the Triforce of Power is at one point in the game, and I think by the end of the game. So you got you have the Triforce of Power in this spot near Death Mountain, and then potentially afterwards you have the Spring of Power in Breath of the Wild in the same spot. So there are some interesting connections. So I don't know what they were thinking, but I can't, it makes a lot of sense to have Hyrule Warriors as a game that, has timelines converge. The only thing that doesn't make sense is that the timelines don't remain converged in that game itself. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
But,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
Even the games that do work in the timeline, usually there's like some weird holes in how they work anyway. So
yeah, but references to other games don't necessarily mean that those games happen. Those references could be as little as like, oh, this type of creature exists in this timeline. That doesn't mean that it's exclusive to that timeline. This is the same land we're talking about. That creature could have been hibernating, for all we know, for so long, and the only reason it exists in timeline 1 is because Ganondorf woke it up in that timeline, and it was asleep in the other one, or something like that. Because one thing exists in one timeline doesn't mean it doesn't exist in the others. Now, specific events, that's different. So, yeah,
I mean, even like character names that pop up, like that could just be. It could be someone else with the same name, or it could be, that timeline's version of that character. But I think there's a Linebeck Island in Breath of the Wild, but that doesn't necessarily mean, Linebeck, the Linebeck from the games was the one that the island got named after. It could have been a different.
It could have been Linebeck
iteration of him in a different timeline,
or
someone else with the same name, or who knows.
Yeah, just because a timeline happens doesn't mean that those characters don't exist in the other timeline.
Right, right.
So he could have been an explorer in that game that doesn't wind up falling into the Phantom Hourglass story,
Yeah,
or whatever, and he discovers an island and they name it after him, or maybe I don't know, maybe he didn't name it after himself, maybe somebody else named it after him.
Or maybe Phantom Hourglass is a legend in the Breath of the Wild universe, and somebody named the island after hearing the story.
Yeah, well, that would mean it probably happened in that.
All right. So here's something I wanted to talk about before we all got into a tangent about time travel and stuff. The other Warriors type game I'm really excited for?
The Persona one?
Yeah. I am, because it's the only way I'm gonna be able to experience Persona 5 without buying a PS4.
Hopefully, Persona 5 ends up on Switch. I know it hasn't happened yet, but I think there was was it Best Buy or something accidentally had like a SKU for a Persona 5 for Switch, but we're not sure if that was the Warriors style game, or if it meant an actual just Persona 5 port was coming. We really don't know, but I'm still hopeful that could happen. So we'll see.
I don't think it's likely to happen for a while because there's currently some kind of exclusivity deal where Shin Megami Tensei is on the Nintendo consoles and Persona is on the Sony consoles.
Yeah. Well, maybe when it runs out or something. I mean, the Persona, like you said, the Persona Warriors game is coming to Switch, so that shows at least the series is
it also coming out on the PS4?
Yeah, I think so.
I want another Hyrule Warriors.
I would love another Hyrule Warriors. They took the original one, was for Wii U, 3DS, and Switch so far. So they've, really. I bought all 3 versions.
Me too. And I played them all.
Yep.
So, but it seems like the definitive edition is probably the last one that's coming out for this Hyrule Warriors version. So, I'm gonna continue playing the Switch version.
I've noticed that there are a lot of games coming out this last year and this year. There are a lot of games, and I think like the year before last as well. There have been several games that have come out and are coming out with they're basically definitive editions of games.
Yeah, because nobody bought the Wii U.
Well,
Dude,
I did.
Well, the thing is, there's also Microsoft with Age of Empires definitive edition games. And there's also
Dragon Quest Royal just came out.
And there's also Dragon Quest 11S definitive edition.
The giant title that Dragon Quest 11 has now.
Yeah.
I gotta play 5. I recently played and beat 1 through 4, and they're great, those games.
I've only played, Dragon Warrior on NES, and I think I played a little bit of
Did you beat it?
8 for, PS2.
Did you beat Dragon Warrior?
No, it's like an old NES game, so I played a decent amount of it. I didn't play all the way through it.
If you were ever gonna play them
anything.
again, this was what was recommended, and this is what I recommend, is playing 1 through 3 on mobile.
The Game Boy versions or something?
No, mobile.
Mobile version, okay.
So, what was recommended in a video I watched was if you can get a hold of because there was SNES versions that were remade into SNES versions, but they were never released in America. So if you can get a hold of like the fan English translation ROMs of Dragon Warrior 1, 2, and 3 for SNES, it's recommended to play those ones. But if you can't, which it's more likely that people are not going to be able to get that one. But if you're tech savvy, apparently that's the one you want to play. The backup is the mobile one for 1, 2, and 3. That's the ones that I played, and they were really good. The mobile did not get in the way at all. Like, just being a mobile platform didn't get in the way at all. It actually made it easier to play because I always have my phone on me. So
now
that's true.
This is something I mentioned in my really awful Hero Showcase reaction, because I had absolutely horrible frame rate. Sometimes it was just still images. But Dragon
so it's more
Warrior,
like a slideshow of reaction.
Yeah. Dragon Warrior only came out 1 year before Phantasy Star.
So do you
The
think
original Phantasy Star?
Yeah, the original Phantasy Star.
How long do you think it took to make that game?
Is the original on Master System, I think?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm trying to think. I thought I had 1, 2, and 3 on Genesis, but maybe they ported it because a lot of Master System games are like that.
Do you think that they were working on Phantasy Star Online simultaneously while Dragon Quest was being made, or do you think that after it came out they were maybe inspired by it and were able to complete the game in less than a year?
I mean, there were RPG like Dragon Quest gets the prize for being the first RPG, but there were RPGs like that. I'm pretty sure on like PC. The names of them are eluding me, but there were definitely a few prior to Dragon Quest that then Dragon Quest kind of took. If I'm right about this, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. It took and put it on like consoles that turn-based RPG stuff, and really exploded in popularity. So if Sega was making a game that was that style, it's not like that style game was only a year old. I'm pretty sure it was older, just on PC stuff.
I've heard Phantasy Star aged a whole lot better than Dragon Warrior, though.
You know what's interesting?
The NES version, I'm sure.
You know what's interesting about Phantasy Star is just so Dragon Quest is like Akira Toriyama, art style, and Phantasy Star. I know the houses in the old games are they're like those dome houses, kind of like the Capsule Corp style houses in Dragon Ball Z. So that's just a weird thing I'm now realizing kind of connect.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I can say after playing 1 through 4, so far 3 is my favorite. And apparently that is one of the more popular ones. But
yeah, that's the big one that I think was like when the people in Japan didn't go to school that day and stuff. I think it was for the release of Dragon Quest 3.
Well, I can say so far that's my favorite. But I've only played 1 through 4, so.
Yeah, if I were to play them, I probably wouldn't play all of them at this point. I'd probably do 3 for old school. And then I maybe
1 and 2
8.
are a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
1 is maybe somewhere between 8 and 10 hours.
Okay, so they're short.
And 2 is maybe 20 hours. So 1 and 2, I feel like you'd appreciate 3 more after playing 1 and 2, because 3 is a prequel to 1.
If they're that short, maybe I'll play
short.
through them.
They are short. 3 was the longer one of the original trilogy. One was pretty cool. When I was at the end of the game, I was like, "Oh, I'm at the end of the game already." And 2 was a little longer, but it was still fairly short. So I would recommend, just playing them on mobile in your spare time, because chances are you'll have the ability to play it a lot more on your phone.
Now, I'm thinking of getting Dragon Quest 11 S when it comes out on my birthday.
Oh, it's on your birthday?
Yeah, it comes out on my birthday.
That's cool. Yeah, I might grab 11 myself. If I were to play them, I'd play the old school ones. 3 specifically I want to play because people say it's good. I have 8, so I'd probably just grab I probably wouldn't be able to find my save file or remember what the heck was going on anyway. So I'd probably just restart 8 and then maybe play 11. That would probably be what I'd do. I'd probably skip the other one.
So the recommended versions to play that I heard, and if anybody wants to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but there was a video I watched, and going back to, 1 through 3, it was recommended the SNES version if you can. Otherwise, 1 to 3 on mobile. Then it was 4 on DS, 5 on... I think 4, 5, and 6 are all on DS. 7 is on DS, 8 is on 3DS. Which was recommended over the other ones because it added all the extra stuff. I think there's a lot of extra stuff in the 3DS one. What was that? 8? I said 9 on DS. 10 we never got. So
yeah, it's 10 if
possible on the PC.
Yeah,
it's an MMO, which is the first of the series. And then 11, I guess, on the Switch because it will probably be the most up-to-date version.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, is Dragon Quest X not turn-based since it's an MMO?
I don't know. I don't know anything about
turn.
I mean, I've never
but it looks
MMO.
neat. The artwork, of course, because it's Akira Toriyama's artwork. But everything just looks beautiful in that game. So.
Well, I've never heard of an MMO that's turn-based. I don't know how they implement it. It probably wouldn't work very well.
It's probably not turn-based then. Japan got it also on the Switch. So,
why did Japan get everything on the Switch before us? They got PSO2 before us, and now we're just...
Well, Dragon Quest is more popular there than it is here.
Yeah.
There was...
I'm pretty sure most Switch things have gotten universal releases.
There was an interest from Square Enix to bring over 10 to the West as an offline version. I'm like, I'd rather have that than not have it at all. Because I would want to experience all the main titles. And if they could successfully make it offline, then sure, whatever. But if they can, if we can play with our friends online or something, that'd be great.
I will say this: I know the Dragon Quest series has never taken off really big in the West. Like, people have dabbled, but I feel like very few people are hardcore Dragon Quest fans here. Putting a Dragon Quest character in Smash has totally worked, because I've heard a ton of people talking about. I mean, we're talking about it right now, wanting to play the games.
See, I got into it initially because my friend is big into Dragon Quest, and the interest was always kind of there. And then before the hero was confirmed, but when Erdrick was like the leak,
super rumored.
Yeah, I was thinking if Erdrick gets in, I might be interested in playing Dragon Quest, because I was always inclined towards playing it. I just never did. So it wasn't necessarily that him being in Smash would be like, oh, I gotta know where this character's from. It was kind of like, well, I always kind of wanted to dabble in this series, so this might push me to say, hey, check this out more, because I always wanted to, so why not? It's an extra character for me to use in Smash. And so I saw they're on mobile. The first game on mobile is like $1 or $2, because it's short, and it's the first Dragon Quest game, so it's not super optimized, if that's the word that I'm looking for. But 1 and 2 are real cheap, like $1 or $2. 3 I think was $9.99, and they were worth it. As soon as I beat 1, I was like, that was cool. And I was trying to get into I was getting excited to play 3 when I was playing 1, because I was kind of anticipating Erdrick, and I was I wanted to know about him, and also he was being built up in 1 and 2. You're the descendant of Erdrick's.
Right, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. No, in 1, you're his descendant.
Really?
Yeah, because 3 is a prequel.
Oh, okay.
So you're one of his descendants, and then in 2, you're the, I think, grandchild of the hero from 1. So that's the first Dragon Quest game where you have a party. It's you and your 2 cousins, so you all have the blood of Erdrick in you. So there's 2 princes and a princess. And then in 3, you find out who this Erdrick guy was that was being built up. And I
think that's probably part of the reason 3 was so popular when it released in Japan. 2 was, not only is it, a lot of the third installments of NES games were really good. Mario Brothers 3 comes to mind. But also probably because the first 2 games, Erdrick, and then the third game, the advertisement, I'm sure, was you get to play as him now, and people were probably like,
also, there's a giant twist that the game is so old, but considering how a lot of people are starting to get into it, I don't want to spoil it. There's a big twist that I think at the time, playing it now might not be as big of a surprise considering all the games that have come out after, but for its time, it was probably a huge twist.
That's cool. Early games,
very
even early RPGs didn't have much of a story on the NES,
this
have
twist
stuff like that.
Was kind of crazy, and actually got me trying to research a bit about the twist itself.
That's cool.
And I couldn't really find much information on it. There were a couple of message boards like GameFAQs where people were asking the same questions that I was thinking, and it's never really been confirmed. And I'm just like, huh. So then I came up with ideas, and I'm just I'm thinking so much about this game. This is the best one so far.
That do it. If a game leaves you thinking like that, and I know Square RPGs, specifically the Super NES Square RPGs had a lot of thought-provoking, interesting stories that I still talk to my friends about. So yeah, I could see Dragon Quest 3 having that.
Dragon Quest was Enix.
Yeah.
Oh, true that. That was before they merged.
Yeah, and then Final Fantasy, I think, took the inspiration from Dragon Quest, maybe. But anyway,
I think you're right.
How are you guys doing on time?
I probably have to go very, very shortly, like in the next
Okay.
few minutes, to be honest.
Okay, okay.
It's pretty late
Yeah.
here.
I
People
should
are
have-
probably asleep in the house.
Yeah, because we didn't really delve too much into Smash, but if everything goes accordingly and we record on Tuesday, and we also have Alpha and hopefully our special guest, we will probably talk a lot about Smash. So,
Yeah, we can save it for Tuesday. I mean, we did, briefly touch upon it here.
Yeah.
So
But was
Now,
there any quick things you want to talk about in Smash?
I wanted to say, I had no idea who Joker was when he was announced for Smash. I just heard people talking about in the comments Joker, who's Joker? So then one day I decided to watch a playthrough of Persona 5 by Johnny Awesome, and I just kind of fell in love with the game, and I think it really helps that the characters, I find them really relatable, and I feel like I could actually get along with them really well.
How long is the walkthrough? Like, about? Was it probably a lot of hours, right?
It's over 100 episodes.
Wow. And how long is an episode? Like a little over an
About
hour?
30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I've never played Persona 5 either, but I have a lot of friends who really like Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, and have been huge fans of the series for a while. So I'm pretty darn aware of the series, and I've heard them talk about it and stuff before. But I hadn't ever played Persona 5. I had watched. My friend does Twitch streaming stuff, and I had watched a couple of his Twitch streams while he was playing Persona 5. But it was just jumping into the game at a random moment and watching a couple hours of it here and there. So I still need to play Persona 5. I was hoping it would come out for Switch, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So maybe I'll just have to buckle down and get it for PS4. But I'll definitely probably get Dragon Quest 11 when it comes out, just to appreciate Dragon Quest more. If not, like you said, download the mobile games and try to play the old ones and 11.
You said you'll definitely probably?
Definitely probably.
Definitely probably not likely.
Well, if it came out today, I would have bought it. If, a month or whatever, I think it's in September it comes out. If for whatever reason I can't get it, then I can't get it. But definitely probably.
It comes out, Dragon Quest 11 comes out September 27th. My birthday.
I thought it was September.
I really hope we get Banjo before my birthday, because the day after my birthday, I'm having a huge party with people at my house, and we're all gonna be playing Smash.
Nice.
So I hope we get Banjo.
I'm guessing Banjo. My guess would be October, some point in October.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today because Joker came out in February, right?
April.
Oh, April.
Yeah, April, because April Fool's Day was a possibility
Okay, so
for a while.
like 3
Piranha Plant
months.
Piranha Plant came out in February.
Okay, so
Yeah.
So about approximately 3 months. So yeah, maybe in October. They did say fall, so it's not gonna. It's got to be by the end of November, right? When is fall officially end?
I think
December
it ends
20th or
December,
something?
maybe even, to be honest. It could be
No.
wrong.
November 21st, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
So they have
Oh, wow.
they have until November 21st or 20th.
I didn't realize it was that early. I thought it fell into December for some reason. Anyway, yeah, I think Piranha Plant was February, so it was only 2 months before Joker, and then Joker's been
I might be wrong there.
another 3 months till Hero, so 2 months till Banjo could happen, and then at some point we got to get the next two revealed. They said it would all be done the Fighter Pass would be done by February, so hopefully we'll get a character reveal September-ish, maybe.
Hopefully we get a second
Okay.
Fighter Pass.
That too.
I think fall does still continue through December, so I think
Does it? I have no idea. I'd have to look it up.
I thought it was December 20th or something.
I have a calendar right in front of me, so I'm gonna check it.
That works.
Let's see.
My calendar is a piece of paper with dates written on it, and I just made it.
Oh, this isn't very helpful. It doesn't say what day it starts.
All
Just
right.
type in on Google first day of winter.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have the power of the internet.
Oh, wait, right here, December 21st. I was a month off.
I thought so, December.
All right, cool.
So by Christmas, we should have Banjo, the latest.
Yeah, I would be shocked if it went that far. I'm guessing more like October, November. But
I mean,
we'll see.
Banjo is not as jank as Hero was, so I would understand if they need like more than 3 months to polish Hero.
Also, here's the thing.
Banjo has a relatively simple moveset. I don't see why they need that long.
Well, also, here's the thing. We have until February. So if Banjo was as late as December, then they'd have to get 2 more characters out by February. So
exactly, it'd be January. It'd be a
chances are
it'd be a character every month at that point. So I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm anticipating around October sometime.
Yeah, I'm thinking October. Then probably the next one, maybe like when Joker got revealed early or mid-December, around when Smash came out last year, or the Game Awards again.
Yeah. Maybe even by holiday.
Yeah, and then February probably for the last one. Also, the thing with Banjo or any of these characters, besides just working on the character, like with Joker, we got Stage Builder. With Hero, not huge things. We got like the tournament, online tournament mode and a few things.
We did.
So with Banjo, like if we got something big, like I know there's been a lot of rumors of like maybe boss rush mode would happen with maybe some new bosses. They'd be working on that too. So who knows how long it's going to take to get whatever else comes with the character done as well.
True. There was something I wanted to talk about that maybe we can touch on real quick before we go. That fake leak, or that leak confirmed fake now, about the next 2 characters being Doomslayer and Monster Hunter.
Yep.
I'm wondering if, what if it is a real leak and the guy is trying to cover his tracks?
It's possible. I'd say he probably wouldn't have. If he was covering his tracks, he probably would have just not taken credit for it because it was posted anonymously anyway.
Yeah.
But I do think he may. It's also completely possible he's just a really good guesser because Monster Hunter and Doom guys still seem like very viable candidates for the last 2 spots. So if that ends up being it, he might have just guessed it. Well, it's possible.
The thing is, I think the last 2 characters are probably going to be highly requested characters because that's what we've seen so far. Joker was the oddball out, was the odd one out because he was completely unexpected, as he should be because he's Joker. He's the wild card. But Hero and Banjo were both highly requested characters from Japan and the West, respectively. So I think it is highly reasonable, highly likely that the last 2 fighters, at least of this Fighters Pass, will be highly requested characters.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean one thing about the Doom guy, Monster Hunter, I'm not gonna call it a leak anymore, but just the thing about getting those 2 characters is the last 2 DLC spots. Monster Hunter is really big in Japan. Doom is a Western, IP, kind of the granddaddy of first-person shooters. So that would kind of fit with like Hero and Banjo. Dragon Quest is big in Japan.
And
Banjo
Doom just got those
Switch
releases. Doom just got those Switch releases recently.
Yeah, that too. I mean, there's definitely stuff going for those characters. I don't know if we'll get both Doom and Monster Hunter, or just one of the 2 as the last 2, or neither of them. But they're definitely in the running. Like if I made a top 10 list of characters, they're definitely both in there.
Having the Monster Hunter in Smash might be the closest thing we get to having Phantasy Star Online in Smash, because Monster Hunter was inspired by the gameplay of Phantasy Star Online.
That makes sense. I'm not a huge Monster Hunter fan. I have a bunch of friends who are, but I can totally see, especially like fighting the dragon, the first boss of Phantasy Star Online, is very similar to Monster Hunter looking battles.
I think if we were to get a Capcom character, the ones that make the most sense to me are a Monster Hunter or a Resident Evil character.
My money's still on Resident Evil.
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, I'd say Resident Evil.
I don't know if they would, because what I was thinking was they would do something like the Hero, where we would get like Jill, Chris, Leon, and Claire.
That'd be great.
But instead of calling them the hero, one of them would probably, like, they would all have different names, kind of like the Koopalings, but one of them would probably be the main one, and I'm assuming that we're going to be getting a Resident Evil 3 remake soon, or Resident Evil 8, whoever's in that one. Assuming Resident Evil 3 remake is coming out and we're getting a Resident Evil character, then maybe it would be Jill as the lead, and plus we'd get another female representative, which would be cool. And Jill's really cool, and she's got alternate costumes already, so if they wanted to not use the different Resident Evil characters, we can get at least 4 different outfits for Jill. Which I don't think they would really...
Jill's been in fighting games before.
Yeah.
We had that Jane pony hair thing that could maybe be Jill. If I had to put my money on one character that I think is the most likely for the rest of the DLC, I would guess Jill. I don't think she's not Erdrick and Banjo or even like Steve when those rumors were going around. I'm not as confident as I was then, but I'm not as confident in any characters, so I would say Jill is the character that I feel the most confident in.
I said this back when I was a mere commenter on one of the past episodes, but we have too many realistic human characters in Smash. It would be a shame to have most of the DLC characters be realistic humans.
Yeah, but Hero kind of gets a little bit of a pass being a cartoony human.
Yeah.
An anime human.
But
I know what you mean.
But like having but like the other DLC characters like the Doomslayer and Monster Hunter, both of those are realistic humans, and having Resident Evil characters, they're also realistic humans.
Yeah.
Like I think if we get human characters, they should be cartoony characters like Shantae.
I agree. But you also got to think of it from the perspective of what characters are bigger, and Resident Evil and Monster Hunter are big franchises. So I guess it's just the result of of a lot of video games having a lot of realistic humans in them.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said with like diversity, but like there's definitely different ways to look at the diversity of the fighter pass. Like, so we have Banjo, who's like super cartoony. Like you said, Hero is cartoony in an anime way. Same with Joker's that, but again, they are human characters. But you can also look at diversity in terms of how many females are in the fighter pass. So Jill fits, okay, we need a girl. Or you can look at diversity in, what companies are these games coming from? What genre do they represent? Horror or Doom.
Yeah, we don't have a horror
shooter. Like, there's all sorts of ways to look at it. So
we don't have any horror representative, do we?
Huh?
We don't have any survival horror.
Castlevania is probably the closest to a horror rep, I'd say, but it's not really the genre. It's more.
I think it's horror
style.
More in style. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I definitely got to get going here.
Okay. Yeah.
Freddy Fazbear.
Or there you go. Five Nights at Freddy's. he fits cartoony and horror.
That's true.
Slender Man.
Slender Man in Smash.
I don't think he started in video games, even though there is a Slender Man phone game that I played like once a long time ago.
Okay, I'll leave it on this. That there was a very old. I remember seeing somewhere that there was like a cave drawing, like an ancient cave drawing of a really tall character that people thought resembled Slender Man. So good night, everyone. He's real.
Oh, great! Thanks a lot.
No, but that was like a weird thing that I thought was interesting. I was like, I'll put this in my wherever in my brain I keep the files for potentially scary things that I don't want to think of.
Horror lore.
Yeah, horror lore.
Yeah. Lorror.
Anyway, I think
all right.
Lorror is better than saying whore. All right. Where can everybody be found? In the links below, I guess, is the easiest way to say it, unless anybody else has anything new. I know, Apocalypso, you have your Quora blog and your YouTube account. PapaGenos, I know you have your YouTube account and Twitter, I believe.
Twitter, Discord, Patreon, but they're all linked up to the YouTube account. So go over to the YouTube account. That's the headquarters. So check that out.
I'm thinking of starting a Twitter profile for my YouTube channel because I get like no exposure from my YouTube channel at all. Like,
yeah, that would probably help.
Twitter's good for networking.
Nobody watches my videos. That's the thing.
Twitter is good for looking at artwork that people post. Like
that too.
Yeah, I'm just like, I log on and I scroll through all the artists I follow. I'm like, oh, awesome! And I save them, and now I have like 20,000 photos on my phone. So, but
anyway.
Yeah, all those links should be in the description below. And I guess that's it. We will hopefully be back on Tuesday to record another episode. So hopefully that episode will be up by Tuesday or Wednesday, the latest.
Papa, I'll be sending you those Phantasy Star spirits, and I'm also going to be sending you a Smash Brainstorm of the Age of Empires 2 Villager.
Yeah, all right, man. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, send those over to me. I want to check, especially the Phantasy Star Spirit thing sounded cool. So yeah, send me it.
I have a backlog of things that you've sent me that I gotta see, but you can send that to me too.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
You might need to create an account in Quora to see it though, so just keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, all right. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I guess nobody really cares about what I played this week.
What did you play? No. You do you. What did you play? What did you play? We'll talk about that next.
No, I just played.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That's really mean.